up, YouTube? This is Galactic God. I'm here with my second version of a Nordic deck list. I kind of came up with one a little while back when Storm of Ragnarok first came out. And here's kind of like my updated version of it. First off, of course, we have 3 of the Voldandis. This is the main tuner of the deck. It can make any of the Nordic God cards. Basically, her effect works when she's used for a synchro. All the other synchro materials have to be Nordic monsters, which is kind of her drawback. But she can also ditch any Nordic monster from the deck to the graveyard to change her level. So whatever Nordic monster she sends from the deck, whatever level they are is the level she becomes, which is pretty handy because I have every level from 1 to 5 in my deck. So essentially she becomes a 1 to 5 level tuner, any level I need. Next up we got 3 of the gold effects, the other main tuner of the deck. Basically, he can special summon himself as long as your opponent has another synchro monster on their side of the field. And he's a level 4, so he's pretty good. He can make a lot of things. Another thing to keep in mind is that Voldandis is dark, and this guy is light. Next up, we have 2 Diverge. This guy combos really well with gold effects. Diverge pretty much says that when he is normal summoned, you can have a second normal summon, as long as that second normal summon is of a Nordic monster. So essentially what you can do is you can normal summon him, and then normal summon out gold effects, and then synchro right up into a 5-star. Pretty handy. Also, when he is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Nordic relic card that was in your graveyard back to your hand, so you kind of get a little plus off of that as well. Next up we have Valkyrie. I know a lot of people don't really dig on Valkyrie, although I still think she works pretty well. You can get a nice Odin off first turn with her effect. Essentially you get to remove 2 cards from your hand as long as they are Nordic monster cards, and then you summon 2 level 4 tokens out to the field. So if you get her first hand, you have a couple other Nordic cards in your hand, you can summon her right off the bat, remove the other 2, get 2 level 4s, make a level 10 Odin, and you're off and running. She's also a light monster, so that becomes very important. Another card that people don't really dig is Solifar. I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name completely wrong. Essentially, he's a 5-star tuner. He's what you use to make Loki. Loki's probably the least powerful of the Nordic god synchros, so you'd probably be making him the least. But I mean, you know, the option's always still good there. He combos really well. Also with Diverge, basically you normal summon Diverge, and you sack him for Solifar. He goes to the graveyard, you grab a Nordic relic card, and whenever he special summon, you grab a Nordic monster from your graveyard and add it to your hand. So, combos nicely, you get a nice little couple pluses off of that. Next up, we have 2 of the 10 Engineers. Again, forgive me if I say the names wrong, I'm very weird. Basically, when he is destroyed by battle, you get to summon 2 tokens out. Tokens are very important in the Nordic deck. They're kind of like what you use to help make your synchros. Also, the Nordic Affair monster up here is a dark. Another thing to keep in mind. Another card I like to use is Phantom of Chaos. Essentially what you do is you remove any effect monster from the graveyard, and his name is treated as that monster's name, and he gains that effect. So basically he can become essentially any Nordic monster you need. It's like having an extra level 4 Nordic tuner in there, plus he gains whatever their effect if it's something that they need, such as Voldandis. You can get her effect and discard a card. Pretty good. Dark monster. Next, I'm playing with 2 Dimensional Alchemists. As you can see, there's a lot of remove from play stuff going on in here. Dimensional Alchemist is what helps you get that card back from out of play into your hand. Finally, for the monsters, I'm playing 2 Chaos Sorcerers. We have a lot of lights, a lot of darks, so there's a lot of targets, a lot of remove from play action going on, so he fits really well into it. A lot of times he catches your opponent off guard, not expecting to see a Chaos Sorcerer in your Nordic deck, but he fits really well in with the theme. I like him in there. Okay, that's it for the monsters. Next we go on to the spells. We have all of our staples: Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Giant Trunade. You also got our 2 MSTs and Book of Moon. Okay. For a little bit of the tech cards, I like to play Mind Control. Since we do have a lot of tuners in the deck, Mind Control does kind of help out quite a bit with that. You're able to, grab their monster, whatever it is, and then sync up. I also play 1 DDR. A lot of stuff going out of play like we talked about before. Great card to get that monster right back, and then maybe you can synchro back up the Mind Control in that. I'm also playing 1 Barrel from a different dimension. Like I said before, tons of stuff going out of play, plus if you need to keep your giant synchro Nordic gods alive and you don't have any targets for them to revive themselves, you can play this and get it back. And then finally for the spells, I'm playing 1 Card Destruction. This is kind of an odd tech choice, but sometimes you can get kind of a weird hand that you really don't need or want. You can just ditch the whole hand. Then you have lots of targets in your graveyard, maybe draw into your Chaos Sorcerer, whatever you might need. I kind of like it better than some of the other drawing cards that are out there. Originally I had some Pot of Dualities in here, but there is quite a bit of special summoning, and I felt like it was holding me up. So this is an interesting tech card. May or may not stay in, but it's kind of helped me a few times just to get rid of like the bad hands. Alright, next up we move to traps. I have 3 different of the Nordic relics, and actually just 2 different Nordic relics, 3 total, and then 2 other interesting tech choice cards. The 3 relics I decided to go with. This one will let you double your Nordic monster's attack. Works really good with Odin. Get a nice 8,000 beater. You just cannot attack directly. I did make that mistake in a different YouTube video. And this one right here is a nice little one as well. Essentially, if your monster is going to get destroyed, you can then remove that monster from play until your second second end phase. I'm sorry, after this card's activation, and then you destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. Awesome little tech choice card. Return from a different dimension works great since everything's going out of play. You can bring everything back in and then synchro up really well, easily. Very good. And of course, Torrential Tribute works very nicely as well. And then finally for traps, we have 3 of the Rhoda of the deck. This is kind of like the reinforcement. This is Glefner. It essentially works just like reinforcement, except it's a trap, so you have to wait. But it can also like bait out some of their stuff, so it's kind of good. I also like playing 2 of the Solemn Warnings and 1 Solemn Judgment. And finally, we're going to move on to the synchros. I like to play 2 Odins, 2 Thors, and just 1 Loki. I think Odin's usually my first choice to go with. I like his effect. Being unaffected by spells or traps is real handy. Plus, you get to draw whenever you special summon them back. So it's much better in my opinion. Finally, rounding up the synchros, I play a Mistworm, Double Stardust, Black Rose, Scrap Dragon, Scrap Archfiend, Brionic, Gaia Knight, Catastor, and Thunder Unicorn. Some people are kind of a little shooken up by Thunder Unicorn, but it is a level 5, easy to make with Goldifax. Right here, get him out with the Verge and the Goldifax, synchro right up, works out really well. Okay, and that is my new revised Nordic deck list. Alright, let me know what you guys think, and that's it. Thanks, YouTube.